turn now to business with correspondent Abiola Ismail joining me for a look at some of the biggest economic conversations happening across the country right now. Good morning, Abiola.
Good morning, Shagun. Nice seeing you again.
Good to have you on the program this morning. So, let's hit it straight. Nigeria emerged as one of Africa's strongest foreign investment performers in 2025, recording a 148% increase in FDI, the foreign direct investment inflows, despite a sharp decline across the continent, according to the UNCTAD World Investment Report 2026. And also, global FDI rebounded by 6% to about $1.624 trillion in 2025. But FDI flows to Africa actually dropped by 26% to about $70 billion. Against that backdrop, Nigeria's FDI rose from $1.61 billion in 2024 to $4.01 billion in 2025, placing it ahead of countries like Ethiopia, Morocco, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghana, though still trailing Egypt, Guinea, and also Mozambique. So analysts note that the performance was driven largely by major transactions in oil, gas, and energy, rather than the broad-based investments in manufacturing and other sectors. So what is the significance of this report to the overall growth of the Nigerian economy?
Yeah, well, thank you, bro. You see, one of the things that we need to look here is the emergence of Dangote refineries. When Dangote refinery was coming on board, a lot of people are looking at what would be the contribution of this singular refinery to Nigerian economy. Now we are seeing it. For United Nations to have given Nigeria a top pop on FDI destination to Nigeria, ahead of Kenya, Morocco, who also have a very huge and large economy. That is a plus for Nigeria. Oil and gas is one of the Nigerian, is one of Nigeria's area of revenue generation. We are not a monopolistic country because we still have agriculture, we still have other sector where we are making money, even the ICT, which is also coming on board. But if you look at oil and gas, who has been able to contribute more than 60% of our revenue, you can see that for United Nations to have said Nigeria is now topping, that shows the refinery is giving us what we wanted. However, we still need to go into Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna to revive the ailing refineries. If we can do that, certainly there will be more job creation, there will be more enabling environment for FDIs to come in. And they believe that once they come in with their portfolio, with their money, there will be profit at the end of the day. Everybody is looking for the increase in R&I, that's your return on investment. If it is as high as what I'm expecting, why not? How come to your country? And that is what is playing out now. And looking at the report of United Nations on Nigeria, ahead of other countries, 5 countries, Cote d'Ivoire, Morocco, Kenya, only Egypt that we are trailing behind. That shows the Nigerian economy is big. Mind you, after the rebasing that we did, we are still as big, as large as South African economy. Certainly we are still going to get there, which I believe, but with what is playing out now, we can see that Dangote refinery alone is playing a major role in the growth of the Nigerian economy with what is playing out here.
So what you are saying is that Dangote refinery has now become a strong force that is pulling our economy in the right direction.
Exactly. And when you look at it, Dangote refinery is not only supplying to Nigeria, it's also supplying to other African countries, and also looking at getting to Europe. Now, if all this can do, the profit or the revenue getting to Dangote is roving around the Nigerian economy. And whatever Dangote gets is also will be reflected in overall dictates of the Nigerian economy. That shows that we have a very big and large petroleum sector.
You said something earlier about job creation and employment, how these reports affect it. Because for the layman out there, they don't want to be bored with the technicalities of a report saying, okay, our economy is performing well. This amount of investment is coming in percentages and billions of dollars. They want to see the effect.
The,
So,
on
are you saying there's light at the end of the tunnel in terms of employment opportunities with all of these reports coming?
You're right. But when we look at what Dangote has been able to even employ in terms of Nigerian youth, the teaming route around working around, the refinery in different segments have been able to get competent Nigerians to work with. I want to believe more than 5,000 people are already working in the refinery because it has different segments. And if that one can move away from the unemployment rate, it will certainly drop the rate down. And the more we have refineries, working refineries, even if government can also go into modular refineries, all this will also contribute to creating employment opportunity for Nigerians because majorly, despite that we have expatriates working in any refinery here in Nigeria, we still have major Nigerians working in that refinery, and that's one is a very, very major contributor to reducing unemployment rate in Nigeria. If we can have Port Harcourt refinery working, as we are expecting, we can have Delta refineries working, even the Kaduna that is already going moribund, if they can revive it, it will create more employment opportunity for
Okay, now,
Nigerians.
so given that this jump is highly concentrated in the oil and gas sector rather than manufacturing
Manufacturer,
or agriculture, how sustainable is this kind of FDI if there is a kind of global energy shift, energy price shift across the globe?
I want to believe that the FDI will certainly look into oil and gas. Now that everyone is also even um, looking forward to welcoming Dangote Refinery to the stock exchange. You and I believe by the time they put it on the table, everybody come and buy. They've done the private placement, which also involve a lot of FDI who have already bought into that. Somebody is looking for 2.5 billion US dollars. And at the end of the placement, the private placement, you got 4 billion. That shows that something is in there. And by the time they're going to stop buying for the IPO, that is initial public offer, everybody wanted to go in. I wanted to buy into it. You wanted to buy into it. That shows that Nigerians, we are moving forward when it comes to oil and gas. Even the PIA bill is also working. It's also working. A lot of people have licenses now to go into modular refineries. By the time we have ease of doing business, enabling environment, I want to believe all these things will be a plus for Nigeria.
Thank you so much for elucidating on that pretty well. All right, let's move to something different. Well, now talking about the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), they've launched a nationwide campaign to help investors and beneficiaries recover unclaimed dividends and inherited investments. We've always had this issue of people passing away, and when the person nobody goes to claim their benefits, their dividends, they are just laying there. So, as part of efforts to strengthen investor protection and reduce dormant assets in the Nigeria's capital market, so they unveiled this initiative in Abuja
Abuja, yeah.
through something they called the Probate Unclaimed Monies Awareness and Investor Clinic, seeking to educate investors, beneficiaries, and estate executors on probate procedures and the process of accessing inherited financial assets. So according to the SEC Director General, that's a Dr. Emomotimi Agama,
Agawa.
said many beneficiaries encounter difficulties obtaining probate, letters of administration, death certificates, and other documents. That there are so many bottlenecks involved in claiming these dividends that should benefit families, rather than remaining idle. So how would you rate SEC's ability to actually achieve this? Because I'm pretty sure this is a topic that concerns almost everybody. Because
Yeah.
if it's not your immediate family member, you know someone who is struggling to benefit from what their loved one has worked for, has invested in some of these organizations in terms of shares and stocks. So, what do you think? How do you think they can go about this?
Yeah, thank you, Shegun. No, looking at shares generally is a long-term investment at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And in any capital market, if you can invest your money looking ahead for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you are sure, pretty sure that you're going to make dividend, you're going to make get good return on your investment. However, as you have already invested in any company, and unfortunately, maybe the loss of the head of the family, and you're unable to get your hand on the certificate or on the dividend slip, then there are a lot of problems that always come from that side. But what the Security and Exchange Commission is trying to do now, the initiative, very good, very laudable, because it will now allow you as the heir to the family to present the certificate, with the birth certificate of the owner, the initial owner who has already passed on, that okay, this is my father, he has died, and this is the certificate you want to claim. With that, you are good, pretty sure that you are going to get the money. The man has invested for his family. That by the time I'm 50, 60, 70, you people can have more money, we can have more money, because it's a long-term investment and you're expecting that you are going to get more. When you look at the unclaimed dividends going to trillion of naira, not big trillion of naira, and government is also looking into it, even to make use of the money to invest,
I think
to
some people just
reinvest
get
it.
tired of the
The,
process
the
of
process is
investing.
very cumbersome when during the days of slave, take your dividend and slip to bank. But now we have e-dividend platform where you can log in. Once you log into that and you get your stockbroker to get all your documents signed, then you are good to go. Just go and sleep. Your money will be dropping every now and then. That is why we always encourage a lot of Nigerians to go into stock market, invest in it. Forget about what will I gain? Stock market, 2 kobo, 3 kobo. This 2 kobo, 3 kobo, 4 kobo, or 1 rand that we are talking about, when you multiply it by 1,000, 2,000 shares or 100 million shares, you know what your profit will be. But this is a very good and laudable initiative
So,
from the
so
Security
you,
and
you,
Exchange
you
Commission.
really you really hope that the SEC can get by with
In
this.
fact, with this one, it will also encourage a lot of Nigerians to go into stock market, because if you know that your colleague, your friend, we maybe you and your friend, you are moving, you have 50,000 naira, you blow it on beer, and all that. And your friend just take that 50,000 naira unused money and drop it at the stock exchange. Go back in the next 2, 3 months, you will see the stock moving up, and as the stock is getting or moving up, your money is also counting.
So, do you think this will also add to the investor confidence that even if I pass on, at least I
That
know
is
that there is
my
a high
family,
probability of my family accessing
accessing
what I worked
that
for?
is what the initiative is trying to tell us, that don't worry. This period, SEC is coming out, talking to banks, talking to stakeholders, the crypto market. Let's try this initiative. Whoever that was before, if you lose the owner of the certificate, then the money has gone. But this period or this time around, SEC is coming up with this new initiative, and the campaign is going everywhere. That join us. Let's see how it goes. So a lot of people will be able to get their money out.
Now, let's look at the role of registrars and banks in this particular initiative. Because in the past, when you're talking about claiming dividends, there's no way you can rule out the role of the banks, the role of
The
the
registrar,
registrar.
yeah.
So, are they actively involved in this, or they are not fully
They
involved?
are the stock. They are the shareholder, the stakeholders in this issue, because they are going to help out. That okay, if I am if I have shares of First Bank, then I have to go to the registrar of First Bank. If I have shares of Access Bank, GT Bank, and any other conglomerate, I have to get to their registrar to present it. And now, for somebody that have already even passed on, just bring the certificate, show it to your stockbroker. Your stockbroker will help you out as intermediary and place it to the registrar. The registrar, I have a client who is claiming so and so and so. What they need is just a confirmation that you or the man that's passed on is our original owner of the shares. It's a very good initiative.
So, for families who have struggled for years to access a deceased relative's shares or dividends, what's the single biggest bottleneck in that process that this campaign needs to fix? I know there are so many bottlenecks, but from your own perspective, what do you think is the biggest bottleneck that needs to be taken away for this thing to work?
Now, for it to be able to work effectively, the idea of somebody has died, you cannot pass on the certificate to your hair should just be removed. That is just a major thing. That if somebody dies, for you to be able to get your to get a dividend from your shares, the bottleneck always discourage a lot of people from I will be going from one registrar to another, signing letter, doing this and that. But this time around with this initiative, once you have the certificate, place it, give it to your registrar or your stockbroker to help you out. You will get everything. You will get your money out, and it is very, very good, seamless as SEC is.
All right, let's go to something entirely different now. Credit. Credit is one facility a lot of Nigerians have been clamoring for, trying to compare what we have here and what's obtainable in
The
other
developed
climes.
world. Yeah.
So, credit for house purchases by households increased to
9 point.
9.6 index points in the
Yeah.
second quarter of 2026,
Yeah.
indicating Nigerians are intensively borrowing to purchase personal homes. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Credit Condition Survey report also noted increased credit availability for secured, unsecured, and corporate lending, alongside lower default rates in Q2.
Yeah.
Now, on unsecured lending, overdrafts, personal loans to households also increased to 7.9 index points through credit card lending from households actually decreased to negative 2.0. On corporate lending, small businesses, medium PNFCs, large PNFCs, they saw increases of like 26.5, 25.5, 8.9 index points, respectively. Despite this report, why do Nigerians, especially the medium and lower classes, still struggle to own their personal houses?
You see, in Nigeria today, housing deficit is going to about 20.7 or 8 billion housing deficit. Now, for every Nigerian, for every family, it is expected that we have a house, we have a home where we can lay our heads. But when you look at the materials, when you look at combination of what you're going to use to build that house, and now we have, even before now, we have the Federal Mortgage Bank, we have even the state. We have mortgage bank there where you and I can go, sign a contract. The next 25 years, give me money, I want to build my house. And today, with the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it's been, seamless. That is why you see a lot of now going into
And do you
borrowing.
think a lot of
Yes,
Nigerians have
yeah,
this
they are
information?
very, very, very aware. They have information into that. It's only that information is very, very scarce for you. People will see information, read, and forget about it, not knowing that what you are throwing away will help you tomorrow. If you know what is happening from the civil service, state, local, or federal, in terms of getting credit facilities to build house, to get their homes, is very, very good now. Ask anybody that you know working in any civil service, federal civil service or state when it's come to mortgage, because CBN has made it easier for you through your government that okay, we have 4,000, 5,000 people working with us, and we have 20% of them, or 25% of them who are already applying for this. Then the state government will help out. That is where it has been easier for CBN to be able to monitor, even for the mortgage bank also, to be able to monitor how many people have been able to give money to build their own house, or who are the people that we are building house but selling the house to them. That is why this report from CBN, when you look at it, it has been growing. And a lot of people is also going into real estate. That's another thing. Because real estate is selling fast, moving fast, especially in Nigeria. When you look at that sector, that sector is also contributing significantly to the IGR, to the growth of the Nigerian economy. Because I want to own a house. You want to own a house. How are we going to go about it? Is this a mega salary? No. But if we get a mortgage that in the next 20, 25 years we can be paying, remove from a salary, then we are getting there.
So, talking about the low income earners now, I understand that if you earn so well, all of this might not even be a problem. If you can pull out a portion of your salary and put it together, you could start a beautiful housing project. But for the low income earners now, people who struggle to get by, people who struggle to even have their basics fixed from what they earn, what kind of policy do you think governments can put in place so that they could also begin to put brick on brick and have something they can call theirs when it comes to a house?
Like I said earlier, government can also encourage private sector to go into mortgage banking. For instance, you have a company, a private-owned company, who can approach federal mortgage bank or state or any mortgage banking. Okay, I have 20 staff, I have 25 staff, I have 50 staff who are interested in having their own house. From there, it's a matter of signing contracts, signing papers that, okay, I have this and this, how they're going to pay, and my company has been existing for more than 10, 15, 20 years, so this is our growing strength. If you look at the papers that we are presenting, you can also see that we have the capacity, the capability to pay back. And if you can do that, then all these lower income earners can also fit in. If you could remember, late former Lagos State Governor Jakonde had low cost housing
Low cost housing, yeah.
built everywhere. Are they still low today? Are they still for low cost housing? No, because for you to get a flat in any of these estates, you are talking about 20, 30, 40 million naira. Is that money? Can that money come from a low earner? No,
That's
but that's
impossible.
what we are saying. But if you know that, okay, I want to own a house of 15 million, 20 million, but I'll be paying small. If my company can also approach the developer and with the help of the government, that's where the policy comes in. If the policy says that, okay, in this area, for instance, Ikeja or let's say Agege or Iyanekpaja, the housing scheme that if we are a developer going into that area, let your low-income housing scheme be 15 million, 20 million, whatever. So you know that this money or this house is meant for
Low income earners.
not somebody that will come with bag, buy the house
Because
and start.
I'm always worried, and I know a lot of Nigerians are also worried whenever these housing schemes come to play and they tell you, okay, this is a housing scheme to benefit Nigerians, to benefit people who cannot do it on their own. And when you begin to hear figures
Figures.
attached to these properties, and you're thinking, just come out and tell us this is not for us. And because when you tell somebody who is just struggling to get by, who is still trying to put the family together with other bills, and you come and you say, okay, you're selling a 2-bedroom apartment in several millions of naira, and you're beginning to think, is this real, or is just a facade? Is the government just trying to put up an appearance that is not there? So the question is, a lot of our housing projects generally, do they really, like you said, comparing to what Jack Conde had in his time, we could really say they call it, in fact, and you say Abeson, low-cost housing, Jack Conde, low-cost. We had all of those things. But in this time, in this season, in this dispensation, do we have anything we can point at and say, okay, this is a low-cost housing project?
As of today, no government, no state government can beat what Jakande did during his own time. Within 4 years, Alhaji Jakande was able to get Isolo, get Abeson, get Adeniji, and simultaneously, within 4 years, he was able to build these houses. If not because of the intervention of the military in 1984, we will have at least put Lagos in the map that yes, we have local houses. But today, no government, I can repeat it, can still prove or can beat that feat.
Is it like there's no will, or they don't have
If
the
they have the will,
strength, or I don't
if
know,
they have the
or
will,
there's no means?
if they have the will, they have the means, but are they ready to go into that? Because they will continue. In fact, they always count it as a long-term project where they might not even gain anything from it. Even sometimes ago, if I could remember, our former minister of housing, Abatunde Fashola, said, nothing like low-cost housing, because when you look at the price of cement, it is not different from if you are buying it at 7,000 and I'm buying it at 7,000. It's not the same thing. Then why are you not
So why,
calling
why should I call it low-cost housing?
So you need it, you need mortgage, we can help you to get ones, and you'll be paying small, better, if you can put it that way.
So with Nigerians now borrowing more just to keep up with housing costs, is this actually a sign of a healthier credit market,
Yes,
or
yes.
a warning that ordinary income is not keeping pace with the cost of living.
Like I said earlier, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that okay, people now understand that if we can live in a credit economy is where you get whatever that you need on credit and you'll be paying small, small. If you can do that, if Nigeria can do that, every one of us will have very uh, good houses to live in, your dream house to live in. If you can have that, it's a good thing that is coming out. And that is why CBN is saying, okay, we have more people now going into credit borrowing in terms to build houses. And mind, CBN will also monitor if you are getting 2 billion from me, what do you want to use it for? To build houses, to have real estate. I want to know where your sites are. I want to know what you are doing with the money. Not that you collect money, now you go into another thing. It's a good thing that is coming to the Nigerian economy as at this period.
So if you are to advise an average Nigerian now, will you advise them to
Go into
take up
mortgage.
this mortgage?
Yes, go into mortgage. Get your house. Pay little by little, 25 years, 30 years. And you have your family, 2-bedroom flat. Why don't you go into that? Well, not everybody we build his or our own house with the current.
Definitely.
Not everybody. But if you can go into mortgage, it will encourage you at least to have your own house that you can call this is my house. Yes, you are paying small, but at least it is your own house. It's a good thing.
Before I let you go, I'm trying to borrow the wings of imagination here now, because if I'm on mortgage and I'm paying a certain rate, maybe monthly or annually, and probably I spread it over a couple of years.
Yeah.
So if I put this house or a part of this house up for rent,
Then you have turned into commercial. Then you are not paying that house. The house you are getting as mortgage is for your house, is for you to live in, not to turn it into commercial.
So that means that house I can't even put it up for rent.
No.
Whoa, because I know
But a lot of people are doing it
because a lot of Nigerians are thinking, okay, if I get a mortgage, I get this property together, and to make it faster.
That is what the policy says, or that's what the law says. But mind you, you can get mortgage here and build a house in your house. You now turn this on to make your money.
To make your money.
Yeah, you can get mortgage.
Because an average person would just think, at least the bottom line is that you want to refund whatever money you put into that.
But you have turned it to commercial.
You have turned it to commercial. Okay, because I'm pretty sure the way you were breaking it down, some people are already doing some calculations in there that if the mortgage comes, they can put it up for rent. But I think you've been able to enlighten us that distorts the arrangement entirely. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. And finally, do you think this has an effect on the cost of housing generally? That do you think it affects? Now that people know, when I say cost of housing, now I mean the real estate business.
Real estate, yeah.
Now, when people know that, okay, an average person can approach the government, approach financial institutions to get money to have their own personal houses. So if I'm selling at an exorbitant price, will there be demand when people can have other options? So do you think this will affect the real estate industry?
In fact, thank you, Shegun. This issue of real estate, building houses, calling it for low-income earning, and you are putting at 3 million, 15 million, where do you expect demand? Demand that is earning, for example, minimum, no, let's go into minimum of 70,000. Let's say 150,000. 150,000 for a month, and the man will also pay transportation, will also feed maybe a family of 2. And when you calculate all these things, within a month, 100,000 has gone. The remaining 50,000, and you are expecting the man to build his own house. But if there's a mortgage where you are removing 25,000 naira, you know that one has gone from your salary, but you have a house that you are living. The problem, the issue of, I'm going home, where will I see? Landlord is coming. It has gone already. The government has been able to, that policy has been able to remove that pressure from you. What do you need to look at now is, how will I feed my family? How will I do this? How will I increase, have stream of income to augment what I've been.
So what does this say? What does this say to people who build to sell?
People who build to sell are building for those who have money. That if you can buy, then you can now rent it out. That's what they are doing.
Thank you so much, Abiola Ismail. Thanks for joining this morning and for your brilliant submissions, as always. Thank you.